All right. I have my glasses, but that's all right. As I said earlier, these are serious times, and I know I'm very certain that a lot of your coworkers, friends, they're kind of on the slide asking, "Wait, what do you think about this? What does this mean?" And I know when the thing jumped off with Hamas and Israel, all the believers, they start grabbing their Bibles, they going to Revelation, they going to, all this stuff. They playing old tapes, or not tapes, but I guess DVDs of past prophecies and things of this nature. Church folk got busy. I mean, and that's a good thing. But what I'm saying is also people that might not say a lot to you, all of a sudden they want to know, well, what do you think of that? What does that mean? Are things wrapping up? I mean, you're being asked, a lot of questions. And, saints, we're feeling stressed out as well. We've got questions ourselves, But, a lot of times when your friends and associates ask you feel like, I got to have something for them. So I just wanted to share some things that will help us get through these days. I do want to start out, though, first of all, even though the things going on, wars, attacks, hostages being taken, the Ukraine situation, there are skirmishes in Africa. Conflict is at an all-time high. And I know that many of us need a power boost. And, first off, let's never, ever forget Yah is over all of it. Even the stuff we don't understand. Like I said earlier in prayer, yes, we are surprised by a lot, but he's not. And see, we get nervous, but he's not nervous. He's the one, as if it were, pushing the buttons. Remember that. He's the one. He created everything we see and don't see. Everything is subject to him. Everything. There is no power in creation that he made that can stand against him. No power. Saints, I'm going to go over some things, and some of us may be doing some of these things. I'm going to ask you to, like Lil Ron, well, he ain't Lil Ron now, he's Big Ron. But he was saying, hey, man, I just got to start being more obedient. Well, we may not have to start being more obedient, but we got to remind ourselves that we serve somebody that's in charge. He's large and in charge. And I know sometimes when stuff happens, we kind of forget sometimes. When the sister was talking about, giving up the sweets, I said, well, see, now she meddling. But she was speaking truth. She was speaking truth. And so my favorite store, they had some macadamia nut cake They had about, and I'm not exaggerating, they had about 20 of them. I didn't buy one. But wait a minute. But see, if I had bought one, I was going to bring some for y'all. But I didn't do it. I left them there, and I'm sure by the time I get there this evening, they're going to be gone because the price was right. Saints, we can have fun in the house of worship. And I was serious when I said people are coming to you. Maybe some of them haven't come yet, but people have been watching your life for years and maybe never said anything to you. But I'm telling you, the things going on now is getting even non-believers' attention. And they've been watching you over the years, and they've watched you handle some situations that maybe weren't always pleasant. Not that you weren't pleasant, but the situation wasn't pleasant. And people do. They want to know, well, what do you think about this? And, you know, as a believer, you know, we don't have to, and we all know about the scripture that talks about always having an answer ready for the hope that's within, you know, and we quote all of that, yeah. But as a believer, you don't always have to have an answer. Because sometimes when we give an answer, we try to be an apologist for the Most High. And I'm going to tell you, that position does not exist. There is no part of creation that can explain the Creator. Any more than any of you can explain the origin of your parents. You can't do it. Now, you can say, well, yeah, well, you know, my grandmother was so-and-so, my grandfather was so-and-so, and, you know, they made my dad, and my dad made me, and yeah. But I think sometimes as believers, we get in trouble when we try to sometimes explain Yah. And if you really think about that, that's kind of dangerous. Now, I'm not saying that we're being evil when we try to do that. But sometimes we feel an obligation. Well, I got to tell them something. Well, when that little urge comes up, ask yourself, why do I feel like I got to tell them something? How about just continue to be honest and walk in your integrity and say, you know, I really don't know. Now, I know, as you know, sometimes people think if you're a believer, like you got a cape or something, and that you know all things, you know everything. And, you know, don't let people compliment you to where you start feeling like, yeah, you got to walk in that vein. That's dangerous. Because, you know, the Most High also said, you know, listen, my glory I will share with no other. No other. And I'm not gonna pick on anybody. But a lot of times in settings even like this, you can get caught up. See, compliments are nice, but that's all they are. It's just a compliment. Okay? Don't read too much into it. Take it for what it is and keep it moving. Because if we continue to build on it, what happens is we get a little puffed up. Now we will say, oh, no, I may not, I won't get puffed up. I'm too humble. I'm just I'm a lowly person. And that don't even sound right coming out of some of us. Because, we know, we the head and not the tail. We above and not beneath, And to a degree, yeah, that's true. But I'm going somewhere with this. When we try to be an apologist for the Most High, what we're actually doing, we're chasing approval. We want to confirm that whatever compliment that person said about us in relation to the Most High, I just want to confirm that that's so true. I'm one of his favorites. Well, and even in your families, sometimes, and it's done playfully, but sometimes when you get around your siblings, somebody might say, well, I know I was their favorite. Well, everybody feel like they was their favorite, But then you say, well, yeah, I heard all y'all say that, but I really am the favorite, And so sometimes we might say, well, I'm the apple of his eye. And when I say that, I'll say that, and then I say, but my apple got a worm in it. So let's stop chasing approval. Another thing that will help us even in times like this, worrying about things out of our control. See, some stuff is too high for us. Regardless of how cerebral we think we are. I'm going to move on from Job, but I'm going to stay with Job for myself because I'm getting a lot out of it, but I'm not going to bore you all with that. I'm going to give an ear to a dear sister that goes here that on more than one occasion said, please get out of Job. So in my attempt to do better, I'm going to get out of Job. But worrying about things that are out of our control, listen, that's a good way to get an ulcer. Saints, we can worry ourselves sick. And really when you think about it, even with the conflict between Hamas and Israel, people come to you and they want to, well, what do you think about that? And you're thinking, well, for one thing, there's nothing I can do about it. Oh, yes, I can pray. But Yah is over that. Again, we were surprised, but he wasn't surprised. But he's who he is, and we are just a part of creation. We are not the playwright. We all have a part. And how does this come into play? Instead of doing our part, we like someone else's part. We've taken a liking to that. Or we might feel, well, hey, I can do that better than this person. But God didn't put you in that position. And see, a lot of times, we don't know the whole background of why that person is where they are. Just like that person doesn't know why you're where you are. They don't have the background in your situation. The reason is because those are your lines. That's your script. Saints, in these times, I will say once again, it is imperative that you be honest with yourself about yourself. The best thing I can do for myself is be honest about Barry. Warts and all. Because he still loves me in spite of my warts. Now, in being honest with ourselves, about ourselves, you don't want to go too far. And what is probably troubling some of us, we engage too long in negative self-talk. See, the rooms of improvement are in all of our lives. Some of us might have one. Some of us might have two. Some of us might have several. Only you know. Only you know and the one that made you. Now, acknowledging that you have those rooms or that room, that's good. But continuing to constantly be negative about it and not desiring to change it, you're putting a nail in your own coffin when you do that. See, when people come to you, what if somebody comes to you and they've got a serious situation and you're in, and I'm engaging in negative self-talk about me? No one's harder on you than you. But we can't go too far with that. Now, I'm not saying, dust yourself off, put on, $1,000 bottle of cologne or perfume and everything's okay. No. We should deal with that. But deal with it how it's outlined in his teachings and instructions. See, his teachings and instructions are what we take when we visit that room for improvement. Because when you just take just yourself, that's your mindset. That's still, maybe some of us haven't forgiven ourselves about something. Well, he'll forgive you. So you forgive you. You forgive you. And adversarial mindsets crop up all the time. Some of them, they call them ants. Ants. Automatic negative thinking. When those thoughts come back, hey, I'm either working on that or I've worked on that. Next. Another thing that keeps us from being able to offer words of consolation or wisdom sometimes, let us stop comparing ourselves to one another. We don't have to do that. Listen, when you go on vacation and you take your selfies and or your video. I don't know if they still, well, phones video everything, but enjoy your vacation. Enjoy your vacation. People didn't used to post serious stuff. Remember when it first came out, everybody was posting like they got Warren Buffett money, And I know, I mean, I guess it could be uplifting to give the impression, oh yeah, my weekends are like this all the time. Well, no, if you're on vacation, you work to go on vacation. So wherever you're employed, they're not sending you a check you get a check while you're on vacation, but that's not how you got on vacation. But that's what you post. How many of you post yourselves at the office? How many of you post yourself at the warehouse? How many people do that? Now, I know some people when I got one buddy, once he's cooked his plate, he I guess videos his plate. And then I have some other friends, will somebody take that boy phone from him? Because he does it for every meal. I'm like, but I guess that makes him happy. But saints, when we compare ourselves to others, stay with me, when comparing yourself to another person, could you be saying you're dissatisfied with your life? Or are you saying you're envious of their life? Why do we feel a need to compare? Why? Now, I know in athletic events, that's a thing called competition. But so are we in society competing with one another? And that's why we compare? When you're comparing yourself to another person, are you being grateful for what you already have, or are you saying you should have more? Barry, we don't think that deeply about that. Well, we might want to. See, what I'm trying to convey to you is a lot of things that we do take away from our attitude of gratitude. And see, when you got an attitude of gratitude, when people come to you, you can tell them, hey, I don't know, or if you do have something to say, you can convey it to them in such a way that they can understand it. And even if they don't agree with it, they say, wow, hey, he or she, I asked them, and they eloquently explained how they saw it. And I never looked at it that way, but I've watched this person for some time, and I would like their opinion on that. More people are going to be coming to you in 2024 and 2025, and they're going to want you to not only have something to tell them, but they're going to want you to continue to live out Torah before them. See, even people that don't like to come to church, they're glad that there are people that are going. I'm serious. A lot of people that, talk bad about church people and stuff, but they glad that we going, that we coming. They glad we praying. They really are. They really are. And those acquaintances that you have to where you can have a very, very frank discussion, some of them will tell you, man, I'm glad you do what you do, because I don't want to have to do that. But I'm glad you do that. See, even those that say they care very little, they know we're the salt of the earth. They know things could be worse if all of us was not here. They got that kind of faith in what we've demonstrated before them. Another thing we do, and we mean well, folks, we can't please everybody. We can't, and I'm gonna tell you, when you start people pleasing, it don't stop. You can help 99 people, and that one person you didn't help, they might run you down. You might say, man, I don't have any more left. Well, you did so and so and so and so, so and so and so and so. Well, yeah, but I had it, but hey, you just coming to me. Oh man, I knew you a phony. Here you broke, and then he calling you a phony. Yes, we are supposed to do what we can when we can. Some things we can do better collectively than individually. Now, some situations come up and it may take an individual, or it may take a group of individuals, or it may take the whole church or the whole assembly. But saints, it's not your job to please everybody. It'll wear you out. It will wear you out. Another thing we do that keeps us from having an answer, because I'm telling you, people are going to come to you. People are going to come to you. We dwell too much on our past mistakes. And we've all made them. We've all made some bad mistakes. But that's in the past. Let's leave it there. Let's leave it there. If you went in that room for improvement and you start cleaning it out, close the door. It's clean. Now, some dust still gonna come down about a few days later, because you ever dust your dining room table Saturday? Well, y'all wouldn't do that on Saturday. On Sunday, by Tuesday, the dust back. But saints, stop dwelling on past mistakes. You know, when we do that, you know what? We're robbing ourselves of the present, and we're possibly crippling our future, because we keep thinking about, well, you know, I shouldn't have done this, and this is looking ahead. Here's another opportunity, and I ain't gonna do that again because what happened in the past? You weren't as wise then as you are now. You're more receptive to accepting wisdom now, even when the wisdom cuts a little bit. We're learning to not get in our emotions so quickly. And we're learning that, yeah, emotions are necessary, but they should not be the driving force when you're making a decision. Don't do that. Here's another thing we do. We invest too much in one-way relationships. You can't have a relationship with you doing all the pulling, pushing, and everything. It's not going to work. And I'm talking about even in a friendship. If you the one always calling, you the one always trying to plan something, how good of a friend are they? Now, I'm not talking about, don't be a scorekeeper either. Well, I did this for you. You got to do that. No, I'm not talking about that. But if you find yourself always reaching out, always reaching out, always reaching out, always reaching out. And you know, I'm not saying, listen, some of you have hearts so kind, that's wonderful. But don't do all that work and just let the person, nobody's that special that you got to do all the pulling and all the pushing. And if you find somebody is doing all the pushing and the pulling and you just don't feel the same way, just politely tell them. You know, we don't have to be, you know, listen. Just be honest. Just be honest. Everybody's not everybody's cup of tea. And that's okay. That's all right. Who was it? Was it Timothy? Paul gave Timothy down the country a lot of times, you know. And so they had to be kind of separated. Now, they both believers. See, saints, we think, well, you know, I love God, they love God, we ought to get along great. Well, maybe. But maybe not. But like Pastor used to say all the time, you can disagree, but don't be disagreeable. Can we do that? Yeah, we can do that. Too many of us are trying to really, that investing in a one-way relationship is part of people pleasing. See, some of these kind of go hand in hand, and you don't want to do that. Now, I'm not saying be mean and ugly to everybody. I'm not saying that. And you all aren't that way. But don't let people work you. And the new term now, the young people, the term is finesse. Don't let people finesse you. Don't let people finesse you. Because people will finesse you if you let them. All right, here's another one. Saints, we overthink every decision. If you've gone through, you've looked at the scenario, you've looked at the situation, you're calm, you're not overly emotional about it, you can sit there, see it for what it is, not what you wish it to be. but for what it actually is. Make a decision with Torah at the forefront, his teachings and instructions, and go on with it. Don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't start thinking about, well, yeah, but when I decided to do that 4 years ago, this happened. Well, that was then. This is now. Especially if it's something that is permissible by the Most High. Business decisions, financial decisions, friendships, whatever. Be more practical in it. We used to, in basketball, guy get on the line and he bouncing the ball, looking, bouncing the ball, looking. And somebody will say, you study long, you study wrong. You know, in other words, you got your rhythm, put it up, shoot it. You either gonna make it or you gonna miss it. You got 50%. Overthinking every decision. Oh my goodness. And I hope none of us are like, oh Lord, do I wear a red shirt today? Well, red in the book of Revelation, no, I can't wear it. You know, we do that. And I'm like, whoa, hold the phone. Don't do that. Don't do that. Oh, here's another thing. This also is in people pleasing. Folks, let us stop spending so much time with people that are draining your energy level. I'm not saying be mean to people, but, you know, hey, I just thought about this. I was at a friend's house, and I get like this from time to time, and I need to work on it better. But I was at a friend's house, and a lot of their relatives was coming over. And you know how some relatives are, if they don't know you, they want to know who you are, and you know, that's 101 questions. And I got through the first tirade of questions. But here come a new batch of folk. And I got an anxiety attack. So I just got up, I bid everybody a good day, and I left. Now, I'm sure to some of those people, they thought, that's an odd fellow. But the person whose house I was over, they knew, because they know that when I get to my limit, I need to be by myself. So they weren't offended, but I'm sure the people that didn't get a chance to ask me 100 questions, they didn't appreciate that. I didn't have my turn at him. I'm like, well, I didn't come here for the Spanish Inquisition. I thought this was going to be a party or a celebration or something. But situations like that, it drains you, it zaps your energy. Don't stay in situations like that. Listen, on your job, you know, it'd be Monday. Okay, you got the whole week ahead of you. I know. The weekend was too short. I know. But you got to go to work because we got bills. And you go to work and you're trying to get into it. You're pulling the files and you're going through and you're doing all of what you're trying to do. And somebody come in, another Monday. And then, you know, maybe something wasn't right in the file or something. They start complaining. Then somebody else start complaining. And the whole atmosphere go from can do to now everybody complaining. When is break? Then what happens is you go, I'm taking my break now. Here come the complainer. They want to go on break with you. You was taking a break to get away from the situation, and here they come. And they got that same disposition at break. So the best thing to do when that happens, just get up and go to the water fountain, get a drink of water. Or go to the break room and, yeah, because drinking from a water fountain, I wouldn't advise that. Scratch that. Get you a cup, get some of that purified water, because most offices got that, or warehouses or whatever. Get you a cup. But we gotta know how to kind of politely get out of that kind of company. Remember when we were learning about LaShawn Hara and Richillis, and my mom used to say, when people were talking negative, you used to say, hey, something just came up, and leave. That was your cue. You can still do the same thing today. And you're not being rude, but you know when somebody's zapping your energy. Hey, you got to guard that. Listen, now people are looking for us to lead the way, and not necessarily by how you teach or preach, but by how you live. By how you live, I'm telling you. People are watching you. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Because they want hope. They want hope. But if we give up, what shot do they have? And see, the crazier things get, the more we got to stand, and the more we got to realize, Father, you got to energize me. Ooh, this was tough. I know you saw it coming, but we didn't see this coming. Another thing we do, and we mean well, sometimes, saints, good enough is good enough. Everything don't have to be perfect. Let me say that again. Everything does not have to be perfect. You know, some days all you can do is get up, get dressed, go to work, perform at work, earn the pay you get. Go home, fix yourself something to eat, and go to bed. That was good enough. Well, you know, I should have stopped by the hospital and visited the sick. Well, yeah, you could have, but you didn't have that grand of a day. You didn't quit. You went in. You earned whatever you agreed to work for them for, and you worked. You didn't spend all day on break and at lunch. And you got there on time, and you left a few minutes early. I'm just joking. Chasing perfection. Chasing perfection. You know, you ever been working on a project or something, and it's a group of you, and the majority of the group say, yeah, I think this will work. And it's all, well, if we just, and that's when you need to tell it, look, we done this thing over 4 times because of you. We're not doing it over again. This will suffice. And sometimes you gotta do that. You gotta do that. When you take those standardized tests, you can't spend all day on one question. You got so much time and you want to get through as many of them as you can. Chasing perfection. You know, even if you got a part in a play, you study your lines, you read your lines, and you try to get into the character and all of that. And sometimes you do it over and over and over again. Or singing. Some people sing. And they sing, and they sing, and they sing. And they still flat. But that's all right. And I'm not talking about anybody in here. And I'm not talking about myself either. But folks, sometimes you just got to pull the trigger. Sometimes, we were talking Friday. Friday. Yeah. And the men, we were talking about that, and we were talking about knowing your limitations. See, sometimes a person, quote unquote, chasing perfection, they must really think they can do whatever it is perfectly. And we can't. Only y'all can do a thing perfectly. Only He. Now, He can inspire us to do better. But even listen, once you realize the presence of God is here and you move in that thing, that's as good as it's gonna get. What if somebody was going, whatever your favorite pie is, and you getting ready to cut into it, they go, oh, no, not that one, I got another one. Then you get ready to cut that one, no, not that one, I got another. Eventually you tell them, hey, look, just leave them here. Leave all of them here. Because for one, to them they might go, but I can bake a better pie. You probably can. But you know, that person, they want to sample that pie. And even if it ain't perfect, if they're hungry and they wanting it, it's going to taste good to them. Or are we chasing perfection because we really don't want to do it? Have we ever thought about that? Also in chasing perfection, we also say, well, the time isn't right. And a lot of times when we say that, we say the time is not right. The time is not right. That's just code for, I really don't want to do this. And so again, just be honest and say, I don't want to do this. And I'm going to take my own advice this evening, and I'm going to make a phone call. Because I've been asked to do something that I don't think I really want to do. And I have been over and over and over. Well, if you did this, this would be this, and this is the. Just, hey, you don't want to do it. Just tell them. The sun will come up tomorrow. And I've started doing some things to prepare. That ain't good enough. Chasing perfection. The time is not right. I really don't want to do it. So just stop lying to yourself and just don't want to do it. The last one, and a lot of us are guilty of this, and we mean well. And all of this comes back to people pleasing. Saying yes to everyone. But I didn't want to hurt their feelings. No, you didn't. But again, you can't do everything. I was listening to one sister, and she was talking about another one of her siblings, and what she said was true. She said, hey, listen, sis, you can't save the world. And that's true. And so I'm saying to you all, you can't save the world either. All of us together can't save the world. Now, we can, of course, we can do our part. I'm not saying don't. I'm not saying don't. Wake up, Ruby. Ruby LeGrand. That's going out over stream. Ruby's my friend. I don't want Reg to beat me up. Saying yes to everybody. You know, especially if something is church related. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah. Stop. A while back, when we keep saying yes to everybody, you start becoming resentful because it's like, why don't they leave me alone? The reason people keep coming to you because you keep saying yes. Now, of course, if it's a serious situation and you can help, because there's a scripture that said when it's within your hand, when it's within the power of your hand to do good, it just said do it. It didn't say pray about it. And that wasn't a request, that's a command. So, you know, as believers, he kind of put that on us. But we don't have to say yes to everybody. We don't need to people please. We don't need to subject ourselves to people that zap your energy, because then you're not in a good place to really help somebody that you really want to help. Because your energy level has been drained. Have you ever had a conversation with a person and you felt like it was more of an inquisition than a conversation? They asked you one question, but you were wondering, well, where are they going with this? I don't like when people do that. If you want a red apple, tell me you want a red apple. Don't say, well, you know, I really would like some fruit. What kind of fruit? You know, we should be more, I'm not saying be blunt, but be more direct. If you're having a conversation. Because when people come up to you and when they ask you, well, hey, what you think about all this going on? You know, I know you're a church person, you know. Is the world coming to an end? Well, you know. You a believer, right? Yeah, I'm a believer. So Israel a good guy? Of course, and I'm only in, I see 3 minutes. The United States has already said that they're going to stand with Israel. And I'm not bringing this up to make it political or whatever. But all of that affects us. All of that affects us. if they decide, I know they're going to send probably military supplies, but they're probably going to send some funds over as well. Folks, that's going to affect us. Just like the money that's been sent to Ukraine, and I'm not saying one way or another, I'm just saying all of that affects us. All of it. And the more money they print, inflation is going up in all of our households. All of our households. And again, I'm not saying, because the people making the decisions got a lot more information than what I have, but part of the reason, in making full disclosure, I'm interested in everything that affects my household. I'm just being transparent. When they come to you and they ask you, tell them this thing. I stay with the Most High. I try to carry out His instructions. I don't always get it right. But the only thing I can do is just rest in the fact that He's running the show. Regardless of how crazy it gets, He's still in charge. God bless you.